So some of these I'm sure you may or may not know, and you continue to do them. But for those of you that may not, let's go through some pretty basic stuff. There is a Q&A section, I think, on the webinar on the top left. So if you've got any questions, just fire them in there and we'll answer as we go, or we'll make sure we've got some time at the end of it. I think the first thing is the area of self-help, which we try and promote as much as we can, because it's the fastest way to get answers to basic questions. You should already have access to the portal, which is this guy here. If you don't, if for some reason you can't get in, let us know. Drop us an email at BB Support. We'll register you and we'll send out an invite, and you can then access it. Particularly if you've got new staff joining you and they're not sure how Blue Bison payroll works, get them on the portal. That's the best way to get up-to-date information. If you've got tickets, you'll see your tickets here as well. So if you're sending tickets through to us or requests, you'll see your tickets and what the progress of those are. More importantly, I think, is just, how do I get what I need? It's a very simple, deactivate the employee, and then in you go, and you've got as much information as you need. We're going to start adding videos, short clips, like 30-second to 1-minute videos on these, as well as just to save you sort of reading through this stuff. I actually prefer videos, so that's what we're going to be adding. These webinars are going to be going up there as well. So all to say that the help desk portal is the first place to go. Creating a ticket here is a good thing to do if you can. And the reason is we tend to look at tickets that come in here first, and then the ones that get sent to us through email, they tend to get queued up behind here. So when you submit a ticket, it's pretty easy to do. Just hit the drop down, what the subject is, and also how important it is, how urgent it is for you. So what's your priority on this? Just let us know, and then we can respond to these straight away. Not to say we ignore emails coming through, it's just that these go straight into our ticketing system. So anyway, how do you get to the portal? There's a couple of different ways. You can either go from the app itself, but if you're not in the app and you sort of forgot where that is, if you just go to our website, there is actually a link there under resources, and you can just click the portal. And if you've got security access, it'll take you to your page, and you can, if you're already signed in once, you'll be in. If not, you've got to sign in again. So anyway, the knowledge base is there. That's the fastest way to get information. If you could, and we're going to try and make that as populated and as full as we possibly can. So we're adding articles and updating those on a near weekly basis. So anyway, that's sort of tip number one, I think, is how to get support. Other thing is finding out what version you're on is important as well. So if you go into help and about, it'll tell you your current version. We're bringing out versions thick and fast at the moment. I know that's a challenge for some organizations, particularly for the larger ones that need to do retrogression testing, etc. But typically we try and stick to 4 major releases a year, 1 a quarter. Some companies won't upgrade that often. They'll probably do it. We recommend at least once a year, ideally once every 6 months, do an upgrade. And why do you need to do that is because you've got a whole bunch of new features coming out on a fairly regular basis. So you could look at these features in the portal and say, do I need these features yet? If you do, let us know, and we can send you a link into the portal where you can just update the software. It normally takes about half an hour to do the update. You just need to make sure you're logged out when you do the update, but it will show you the improvements that we've made, new features that we've made, and of course there's the inevitable bugs that we find, and we fix those. If there's any urgent bugs, security issues that we find, we'll let you know, and those are not optional upgrades. We'll actually send what's called a patch out, which isn't a full upgrade. It's a patch to fix a particular issue, but those don't come out that often. But when we send a patch alert out, we'll let you know. So again, it's important that you keep up to date with the version that you've got, and you can find out what those are there. Okay. Also, when you're in contact support here, it's a quick way to get to that portal, by the way. So if you're in your application, you don't have to go to our portal, our website. You can just click here and it'll take you to the same place. All right. Other things I think will be a huge time saver, and embarrassingly enough, it took me about a year to figure this out. Um, is you can right click anywhere on any of these menus. So I still see a lot of times when I'm working with clients, they'll keep bouncing around in the same window, as opposed to just right clicking. And I right click and open a new tab, and then you've got the new tab sitting here, and you can then see whatever you've selected and then still go back here. And you can have as many tabs open as you like. So that's an easy way to get around, and I find that's something that's a huge time saver uh, for people. What else have we got going on here? The search bar is huge. I think not many people use it. This is a search, not really. You're not searching for articles. You're searching for pages within the system. There's over 400 pages in this system. So this is a page, for instance. We call it a page. So if you wanted to go to the page to sort of deactivate employee, then it'll take you straight to the page to deactivate. So you don't have to worry about, going through here and remembering, well, where was deactivate? I forget where I've got to go for that. Oh, it's here. Then it takes you to the same page. So this search pages is a significant time saver. And I see actually some clients will use that exclusively, and they don't even go through the menu systems. So that should help you as well, hopefully through navigation. Electronic documents, you may and may not be using them. Again, a big time saver for the HR folks. We've got a few already listed here. The HR documents themselves basically read into the database. They fire up a Word document and get rid of that. And it will pull in. This is customizable. I'll show you how you do that if you're not too sure where to go. But this is basically a very common request for HR is, I need a reference. I need confirmation of my salary or my earnings. I'm getting a mortgage. I'm getting a loan for a car or whatever it may be. This automates that process. You can have as many of these templates as you like. In both Bermuda and Cayman, other islands, they'll actually have a template for each of the banks. So you could have one for Bank of Butterfield, Bank of Nova Scotia, whatever. Automatically fills this out. All you've then got to do is sign it and hand it to the employee. They can then go and take it to the bank. So there's a number of these here in terms of these different company documents that you can use. As far as where you go for that to actually change it, it's under settings. And again, there's a few areas here. You've got company documents and forms. This is where, by the way, you can file your own company documents and make them available. So if you've got policy documents that you want to upload, company policy, whether it's whatever it may be, dress codes, etc., you can actually upload them here and make them available to your staff. So that's another way of doing it. And you can have we're going to go through this as well, which is document categories. So when we get to uploading documents into the employee file, you can set up different categories and you can file it accordingly. So an example of that would be when we go to profile and we go under documents. This is for this individual. So if we look at Chris Bacon, we've uploaded his CV, for instance. And this list that you saw here was what was set up in the settings section. So the clients themselves set these up. And then you basically take those manila folders and file cabinets you've got, scan them, upload them, and now you've got them available. So basically, once it's in here and you've got the right security access, you can access all of your employee documents. You can get rid of those hard copy files. Now, some of these documents, these categories are available on the self-service portal. So you could make available. It's up to you which ones you do make available for the employee themselves to upload their documents. So you could, push that admin function or some of that to the employee so they can log in, and if they get an updated driving license or a passport or they get a new certificate, rather than emailing you and you doing it, you can say, great, go to self-service portal and upload it. Obviously, it depends on the demographic of the employee, but typically the more, I'd say, tech-savvy employees are fine uploading those documents.
We've seen quite a few clients use this for the onboarding process. So those initial onboarding documents, handing that responsibility over to the employee to get those documents uploaded, and they can access them kind of through the self-service portal. So yeah, it can be quite helpful for that as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to take you to where we're going with template configurations, which is kind of where I started. So here are the templates. Let's look at that bank reference, which we opened up a little while ago, just to show you how that works. And again, this is something that you can edit. So this is the verbiage here. Change this to whatever you like, whatever your policy is. Anything in square brackets is basically coming from the database. So you can drag and drop these database elements and fields, put them into the template. So what this is saying is obviously bringing in the first name, the last name. It's bringing in the hire date. It's bringing in their job title, which department they work for, what currency they get paid in. So how much of that you leave and change is entirely up to you. So again, I think that's a pretty powerful tool for those in HR to try and push some of that admin stuff out of their inbox. Okay, let's have a look at, so we've done employment document storage. Attendance tracking. We're going to go into a deep dive, separate web session on attendance tracking. It's a big topic, but just to give you a bit of a flavor of what that looks like, you've got a few, again, anything under the employees for that employee specifically. There are reports for attendance tracking, which will cover all of your employees. But if you want to look at a particular individual, obviously choose the individual, the employee from here. What this will show you is a range, a date range. So it's saying from basically this year, from the 1st of January through the end of the year, what does attendance look like? And it's taken 4 days. We've actually added a new release. We've added hours, so you can actually enable hours for the vacation or time off requests. So employees can come in through the self-service portal and they can request a number of hours off. We do get employees and clients saying, look, we have someone that wanted just 3 hours to take off on Friday. We didn't want a half day. We didn't want a full day. So we've now given the ability to select the number of hours they want to take off as opposed to full or half days. We've also added overtime, by the way. So some clients want to enable their employees to request overtime, and they can actually do that through the self-service portal and request, okay, I'm available for overtime on this day for this many hours. So that's a new feature we've also added. So you've got attendance information there. Scheduled leave is another one that's used quite often. Basically showing you what they've got, what their allowance is. So this tells me that Chris is allowed 25 days or 200 hours. We've carried forward 5 days from last year. That's a policy that you can change yourselves. Each company has different policies based on the tenure, the number of years they've been with you. That can be, I can carry 5 days after up to 5 years. After 5 years, I can get another 2 days or something. It's entirely up to you. It's saying I've taken 4 so far. We've got it here on the from the 4th to the 7th. So that's deducted that accordingly. So that's what they've now got remaining. So this is a quick way to go in and see what an individual has. And we also see this as somewhere where managers can go in and actually go and approve those requests as well. Come up here and we'll take a look at. Now, this is requested time off. So think of this as in the future. What have we got? Although it shows history, it'll also show what's been requested by Chris, which may or may not be approved. And again, we're going to go on a deep dive on this on a later seminar, but just so you know now, we've also introduced the concept of delayed approval. So if Chris, approver for time off, takes more than, say, 4 days to approve it because his manager or supervisor may be off, they may be sick themselves. We don't want this sitting there and not doing anything. So we've now built it in. So the next person in line could be the HR manager or the department manager or division manager will get a note to say that Chris has made a request. His manager hasn't approved it. Could you go ahead and review? It just saves things getting stuck because supervisors may be away themselves. So that's another feature we recently added. Okay. Self-service is entirely, I mean, we've got clients, I don't know, probably 75% of our clients use self-service for the employees. Basically, that the biggest benefit of that is payroll when it comes to moving pay slips. Instead of emailing pay slips out, you basically send a link to their self-service portal, get them used to using the self-service portal. The main reason they're going to go there is to have a look at their pay. So their pay slips will be there and their historic pay slips. So from the day you started using Blue Bison, they'll be able to choose a month or a week or any pay period and see the pay slip for that pay period. That's important because employees, if you've been emailing them to them, they may have lost them, and they'll call HR or finance and say, look, can you resend me my pay slip for December? And all of a sudden it becomes your problem rather than theirs. So by giving them self-service access, you enable them to basically self-manage their own pay slips. But once they're in the self-service portal, there's a lot of things they can do, and you can encourage them to update their information if they ever move, or the key contact information. They can upload documents. So as I say, with the carrot for self-service tends to be pay slips, but once you've got them in there, they can start using it for a number of other things as well. Okay, we've covered that one. Let's talk about security. This is a big one from a security point of view, and what you allow people to do what. We've done a lot of work on security this year, well, in 2021, to give you a lot more granularity of who can do what. So this is where you basically set up roles and you assign those roles to particular individuals, particular employees. You can have as many roles as you like. There's no restriction. Sorry, just taking a bit of time. This is where we've set up a few out of the box, but obviously you want to create your own. We've got, manager, HR manager. You normally have finance and payroll. I think one of the key things here is let's just select on manager for a minute and edit that. Yeah, if we drag down to the bottom there, if you look at assigned pages and just open those up. So this is where you can assign specific pages to a role. Also, you can assign division managers and department heads to only see their employees. So if you've got a particular division and they only want to see their employees, and they could come in and use the system, but they can only see their employees, not other employees, which is a good feature to have. And then on the assigned pages side, if we just roll that down a little bit, if we go to payroll, for instance, what we're seeing a lot of people do now under payroll, and we're going to do a deep dive on payroll, but this particular individual can only do step 2, for instance. So they can only actually upload hours into payroll. They can't do anything else. We do get people that, from an administration point of view, they will do steps 1 through 3, which gets the payroll ready for review. It hasn't been processed. No one's been paid yet. And then you could get a payroll master, or you could get the financial controller. They would then have full access to step 4, 5, and 6, which means they can then validate the payroll, run the payroll, finalize it, produce the bank notifications, and send the bank notifications out. So you can basically split these roles, split these tasks between roles. So it takes some of the admin away from finance, and you could push it back to another administrator. So we find that being used more and more. So again, create as many profiles as you like, and then all you simply do is go to the employee. Under the employee, we can probably go and show that. Palowie, if you go to employee on the top menu, and then we can assign this role to an employee, which is pretty easy to do. It's with security at the bottom. And then basically you can change the role of a particular employee to match whatever you've set up from a security point of view and an access point of view. So towards the bottom there. Yeah, so exactly. So whether they're an employee or an employee self-service or administrator, Now, obviously, the only people that can do this are the ones that have the rights to make those changes, which is typically the top level system admin or the most senior person has security. Other people wouldn't be able to change those roles for obvious security reasons. And that's audited when those changes get made as well. So security is a big issue, and this is one way that we control it, and the way you can control who in your organization can get access to what, whether it's HR not wanting to see payroll, division managers only wanting to see their departments or their employees. There's lots of different ways in which you can, at a granular level, assign different pages to different roles. So that's pretty much security. And I say we're going to do a bit of a deeper dive on that, including password controls and things like that. I think from I'm looking at the time here. We only got 3 or 4 minutes left. I think that's sort of the general top tips that I'd like to cover. A couple of comments I'd like to make before we sort of close and answer any questions. We do have a SaaS version coming out in Q2. We've been working on that for about a year. Why is that important, and what's different to that is we still have about 75% of our clients. We've got about 10, 11,000 subscribers now, and 75% of those are still having in-house hosted instances. When we get the SaaS model available, we can now give you the choice to move over to a centralized model where we're supporting the instances on Azure, which means it's easier for us to manage because we can do the upgrades far quicker. It's easier for the client and less expensive for them. They don't have to worry about keeping in-house servers and managing and maintaining those. So from a support point of view, we see that as a major upgrade for us. It's going to be optional for existing clients. For new clients, we're certainly going to encourage them to take the SaaS version and reduce the number of on-site clients we have to manage. But that's coming out, and as we get closer, there'll be a full migration path. You won't lose any data. If you choose to go that way, we'll help you do that at no cost, and we'll get you on the SaaS platform. At the moment, we're still on target for Q2 this year. So that'll be something that you'll hear more about, that we can get you moved over to that version. And we're still looking at our mobile app. We got delayed a little bit because of COVID, but we're looking at our mobile app this year as well. And we'll certainly keep you abreast when that's going to be available. So we've got a few more webinars coming up. We'll do one every couple of 3 weeks. Payroll, we're going to do a deep dive on payroll and how we can make that more efficient for you. And as Sophie said, we've got the security we're going to cover off, attendance, self-service portal. So hopefully this has been useful. Sorry about the glitch in the middle on my side. Not sure what happened to my link there, but hopefully that's been useful. Do we have any questions? Anything anybody wants to ask? Either now, or you can drop us an email afterwards. Anything in the Q&A box, Soph, that you can see? I can't see it from my side. You're on mute, Soph.
Yeah, no questions at the moment.
Okay. All right. Well, we said 30 minutes. I think we're just coming on to that bang on time. So I thank you all for your time. I hope you found it useful, and we'll send out notices on future releases. And now I'm going to go back to my Omicron COVID quarantine for another week. So anyway, thanks very much.
Yep. And it'll also be held on the knowledge base. So yeah, look for those and you can share them with your team.
Okay, great. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.